What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Talkin Football podcast. This is episode 28, I believe. In this episode, I'm going to be recapping everything that happened in week 5. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And let's get right into this episode. Let me roll the intro and let's get into it. So week 5 was a very good week of football. I feel like I say that every week, basically. This was a very good week. Lots of good games, lots of fun games, a couple of games that went to overtime, a great Thursday night football game. Overall, a lot of good games here. So, I mean, it was a pretty good week of football, in my opinion. So you can see on the bottom there, teams on bye. That is obviously being covered by the Talking Football. Football on the bottom left. That's my bad. Teams on bye. So the Lions were on their bye, the Chargers were on their bye, the Eagles were on their bye, and the Titans were on their bye. So two of the main dogs in the NFL were on their bye. So the 1 o'clock games weren't as good as we usually expect them to be. That didn't really impact us though that much at the end of the day because we still had a lot of good football. So we're going to start with the Thursday night game. The Falcons beat the Buccaneers 36-30 in an overtime game where Kirk Cousins set the all-time Falcons record for passing yards in a game. The Minnesota Vikings beat the Jets in London 23-17 was the final score there. The Bears took apart the Panthers 36-10 in a game where Caleb Williams really played well. The Ravens beat the Bengals 41-38 in another game that went to overtime. Houston beat Buffalo 23-20 in a game that was decided on a last-second field goal by Fairbairn there. Jacksonville finally gets in the win column here, 37-34. They beat Indy. Jacksonville finally gets a number in that win column. So there's going to be no winless teams this year. Jacksonville goes to 1-4 in the season. Indy goes to 2-3, I believe. Miami beat New England 15-10 in what was a unbelievably boring game. I can't give anything else other than that. It was just overall a very boring game there, unfortunately. If you guys decide to watch that, that's your choice. I don't know why you'd want to do that. Washington beat Cleveland 34-13 in another game where Washington's dominated. I'm still not buying them yet. And again, kind of biased, I'll be honest. And I'm usually neutral. I'm not buying them yet. This week they play Baltimore, I believe. If they can play well against this Baltimore Ravens team, even if they don't win, if they can play well, then I'll be like, okay, this is a good Washington team. If they can't, though, then we kind of have some problems there. Denver beat the Raiders 34-18 in the final score there. Bo Nix played very well, and this game involved a 100-yard pick six there from Patrick Surtain. The Cardinals upset the Niners 24-23. The Niners were up 23-13 late in the fourth. Actually, not really late in the fourth quarter. 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter-ish, and Arizona came back. Green Bay held on against the Rams 24-19 was the final score there. The Giants upset the Seahawks 29-20. In a game that involved Isaiah Simmons blocking a kick, which would have tied the game for Seattle, and Bryce Ford-Wheaton returned all the way for what was arguably the wildest play of the game. And it's funny because I'm saying that if you guys didn't see, Eric Ray fumbled the ball on the goal line, and the Seahawks ran it back to the 101-yard touchdown there. So lots of big plays here in that game. Dallas beat Pittsburgh 20-17 on Sunday Night Football, in a game that ended in. Well, that didn't really end, but with like around 30 seconds left, Prescott threw a game-winning touchdown and 4th and goal. The Chiefs beat the Saints yesterday 26-13 in what was overall not a super fun game to watch, but fun enough to the point where, look, it's football. We're going to watch football whenever we can. So football over there. And also, I mean, I know I'm supposed to talk about college football, and I really haven't found time to do that yet. And this is a really good weekend of football. College football as well. We had like 5 upsets. I'm pretty sure Alabama got beaten by Vanderbilt for the first time in like forever. Number 4 Tennessee got beaten by Arkansas, and that's not being talked about enough. I mean, look, Arkansas went into the number 4 ranked team and they beat them. Or actually, no, it was in Arkansas because they stormed the field. And it's not being talked about. That's how you know it's a good week of college football. Other upsets, I cannot think of any off the top of my head. I believe USC was beaten by Minnesota. I want to say Michigan lost. I don't know who Michigan played, but I think Michigan lost, and they were ranked number 10. There's another team in the top 10 that lost. I cannot think of who it was, but the top 10 was completely shaken up. It was moved around a lot. Texas is now number 1. They're back to number 1. They were number 2 for the last few weeks, I think. The Ohio State moves up to number 2. That's my. In case you guys are wondering, that's my team. Number 3, Who is number 3? Oregon, because it's the 2 and 3 next this upcoming Saturday. Let's get back on track here. A wild week of football, really good games here in both college football and the NFL. So next, let's go to injuries. Let's show this injuries. Okay, here we go. So injury updates. Rashee Rice is likely out for the year with an LCL injury. So I believe I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but I said that Rashee Rice is out for the year with an ACL injury. Then they changed that to we don't know how bad it is. Now we know how bad it is. He's likely out for the year. So maybe if the Chiefs go to the Super Bowl for what would be like the 100th year in a row, Rashee Rice might be able to play. Do I know that for sure? No, I wouldn't take my word for it, but it is something that you need to keep an eye on for later in the season. Jake Moody is out for several weeks with an ankle injury. He injured it, or I'm pretty sure it's an ankle injury. He injured it against the Cardinals. That really hurt them, and now they're out with the kicker. Maybe a potential Robbie Gould reunion there. If not, there are other kickers out there for San Francisco. So look out for San Francisco to maybe make a move here. After all, they do play on Thursday against Seattle. Aaron Jones is out with an injury. Status for Week 7 is unsure. So I'm saying Week 7 because the Vikings are on a bye this week, which is very important for them. So I do believe that he should be back at that point. It is a hip injury. He hurt himself in the first half. In the second quarter, he was out for the rest of the game. He looked very uncomfortable. So I believe this upcoming week will be very important for Aaron Jones for some recovery. Jabril Peppers was arrested. Not really an injury update, but I just kind of wanted to put that in there so you guys were updated if you guys didn't see it. The charges were pretty bad, so I don't know. That's not really a topic I'm going to dive too far into, but they are pretty significant. Now, not super significant, but he's not going to jail for life. But it is important to kind of look at. He's probably going to miss a couple of weeks, if not more than that. Derek Carr is also expected to miss multiple games with an oblique injury. He injured it in last night's game against the Kansas City Chiefs. So that's injury updates for this week. That's like the main part, right? Scores and injuries. Let's dive a little bit deeper. So if you guys didn't see this, which I'm sure, the whole NFL world saw it, the Jets fired their head coach, Robert Saleh. I'm very surprised about. I didn't really know how to react to it. I looked at my phone. I just saw breaking Jets. And when I saw Jets, I'm a hockey fan because it's hockey season right now. It said Jets fire. I'm like, the Winnipeg Jets fired their coach? I'm like, why? The season just started. And then I saw Robert Saleh, and I was like, Robert Saleh just got fired. So here's the thing. Robert Saleh in his tenure, who's 20 and 36, he with Rodgers, he was 3-3, just for kind of some context. Now, it is important to note that one game was the Buffalo game where Zach Wilson came in and won it for them. So it's not like he's really 3-3, he's more 2-3. I get this move. I do. He has not shown results. This Jets team the expectations are unbelievably high. You need to capitalize on this team. It is such a good roster. Rodgers, Wilson, defensively Gardner, I'm blanking on DJ Reed, Will McDonald, and there's Breece Hall, obviously, and there's so many more. There's so much talent on that team. They don't deserve to be 2-3. This team should be 3-2, 4-1, but they're not. And is it coaching? And I think that's kind of what we have to blame it on. I really like Robert Saleh. When they first hired him, I was like, this is an amazing move for them. It's a great hire for the Jets. But looking back at it, he's 20 and 36, as I just mentioned. He allegedly had tensions in the locker room, especially with Aaron Rodgers. Now, apparently, Jordan Schultz reported, like maybe 25, 30 minutes after, he said there was no tension between Rodgers. I don't buy that personally. I think this is a Rodgers-inflicted move here. I don't really know how to react to this. Jeff Ulbrich, the current defensive coordinator, it was promoted to interim head coach for the time being. I'm really I'm not going to say confused. I get it. I just don't understand why they're doing it now. I would see how the season ends. And we've seen what the Jets have done. A couple years ago, they were what were they? Like they were like 5-1, the end of the year 7-10. Blame that on what you want to blame it on. But that was a team that was supposed to make the playoffs, and they missed by quite a bit. Last year, high expectations. Obviously, Rodgers goes out. When your starting quarterback goes out, then your season kind of changes a little bit, and by a little bit, I mean a lot of it. But you have Zach Wilson, who was behind Aaron Rodgers. He learned from him, and he was terrible. You went 6-11, 7-10 again. This doesn't really add up. Now you're 2-3 with a healthy Rodgers. Look, that offensive line's terrible, but other than that, I mean, look, Joe Burrow was able to go to the Super Bowl with Jamar Chase, Higgins, and his offensive line was terrible. Aaron Rodgers, he has Garrett Wilson, he has Lazard, he has Mike Williams. He has weapons, right? He has Breece Hall, Braylon Allen, Tyler Conklin. No offensive line, and they're not able to put up results. Who do you blame that on? I don't really know. So overall, I get this move. I thought they were going to at least hold him on until the end of the year. But now this Jet season has completely changed. And even though you just fired your head coach, this tells me one thing. They want to win now. They know Saleh does not bring a winning culture to this group. He doesn't. And it's not his fault. It's the cards he was given. He was given a rebuilding team. So now you're going to look at track record. Obviously, if you for example, if Dave Canales gets fired after 2 seasons in Carolina, he didn't have a good. Well, I guess on paper, theoretically, the team isn't bad, but you were given a poor team with a poor rookie with a young quarterback who can't really play that well, and your other option is Andy Dalton. So you're kind of left in the dust here a little bit. And let's just say after 2 seasons, he has 6 wins. Let's say. So 6 wins in 2 years. Let's say he ends with 2 this year and 4 next year. That's 2-15. That's 4-13. That means he's going 6-28. Are you going to fire him, or are you going to let him build the roster? They're going to fire him because you want to win, and the cycle repeats. I'm not saying that's the way that the Jets are doing Robert Saleh here. That's important. I don't feel that way about that. I'm just saying I thought they would let him kind of establish himself a little bit with the actual roster. They didn't let him, and now we're here. Curious to see what the Jets do for the rest of the season. I don't know if it's going to unite them or what, but I'm very curious to see how this kind of pans out for the New York Jets. Kansas City and Minnesota, they're both 5-0. Minnesota is 5-0 for the first time since 2016 in a season where, keep in mind, they ended 8-8. Not that I really see that happening, but the last time this happened, that happened. Kansas City, they're 5-0 for the first time. I don't know, actually. I don't know what the last time they were 5-0, but it's so funny because Kansas City and Minnesota are completely different 5-0 teams. Minnesota has played very good teams. They have. Obviously, the Giants were terrible, but they blew them out. So that evens out. San Francisco came into town. You beat them. Houston came into town. You beat them. You played the Jets overseas. You beat them. You went into Lambeau. You beat the Packers. One thing, though, that is kind of consistent is that the Vikings go out to super fast starts, and then they usually hold on near the end. So here's the thing: it might not be easy to guard Darnold, which is kind of funny to say that Darnold isn't the easiest to cover. Jefferson, Addison, oh my gosh, I'm playing under the running. Aaron Jones, I just talked about him. It's kind of hard to figure them out because Kevin O'Connell, he calls that scheme beautifully. He calls plays amazingly. But once they get figured out, and look, all it is, it's fast starts. Minnesota, they blitz and they blitz. And they blitz and they blitz and they blitz. They blitz. That's what they do. They blitz. That's what Brian Flores has implemented here. And he's successful at doing it. He'll give up a chunk play or two, but it's not consistent. It's not like Aaron Rodgers dropping back and he got Wilson over the middle for 25 yards, and they just kept doing that over and over again against the blitz. It's blitz. Rodgers is uncomfortable. He has to force the throw to Andrew Van Ginkel, and that returns for a pick 6. That's the kind of blitzing that Brian Flores is doing. Masterful. So the big thing here with Minnesota, for teams that play them in the future, is you got to stop them early and you got to keep it close. And because they have in every single one of their games, and just so it's known, they haven't been losing since week 1 in the first quarter. That's a stat that I still can't really wrap my head around it. They have not trailed. They have either been tied or they've been winning. And once they get the lead, they don't lose it. That is unreal to think about, that they have been that good. So really all it is, they get fast starts and then they kind of let you back into it, but they have such a big lead that's kind of hard to take back. If teams that play Minnesota just took them down and they realized, they're like, look, well, it's play action, and you slow them down, and instead of them going up to 17-0 leads, maybe it's 13-6. That changes the dynamic. But they're a great football team, and they know what they're doing. And by they, I mean Kevin O'Connell, who has been absolutely phenomenal. Hats off to him. Kansas City, on the other hand, they don't do anything to move me. They do not move me. This is a team that can lose any week. The only team here. Who are teams that would lose to the Chiefs? Carolina, Arizona, the Bears. I mean, the Raiders. There's only like a handful of teams. Like, I think there's at least 20 teams that can actually beat the Chiefs. You know what? We have time. Let's think about them. Dallas can beat them. Philly can beat them. With the way Washington's playing right now, they can probably beat them. The Giants, I'm a little iffy on. I think they can play well against them. I don't know if they can beat them. So let's pause the brakes on that. So that's 3 NFC East teams. In the North, Vikings definitely, Packers definitely, Lions definitely, Bears no. That's 6 already. And we're through two divisions. In the NFC West, Niners can. If the Rams were healthy, I would say yeah, but at this point, I don't think so. Seattle, Arizona, Actually, I think Seattle could beat them. Let's be real here. Seattle could beat them. In the South, Tampa can beat them. Atlanta can definitely beat them. New Orleans can, and Carolina can't. So that's 10 in the NFC already. And the AFC, Buffalo can. I think the Jets probably could. If Miami had Tua, I would feel good about it. But the thing is, once you start to lose without your starting quarterback, when your starting quarterback comes back, you can't really win. So I'm going to say no on Miami for now. But I do think they keep it close. AFC North, Steelers can, in my opinion. Ravens definitely can. Bengals definitely can. Browns can. That's 15. In the West, I think the Chargers can. I don't think the Broncos or Raiders can. And the Chargers is a stretch. So that's 16 right there. And then in the South, Texans definitely can. None of the rest of them can't. So that's 17 teams that can genuinely beat the Chiefs. So this is a 5-0 team that, can be beat. They don't move me. They don't scare me. They are not a 5-0 team. This is a 4-1. There's a 3-2, 4-1 team, or a good football team, but they're not as good as they used to be. I don't mean to be this guy because it's talking football, and obviously I'm a Giants fan, so I'm going to try and keep this quick. The Giants go into Seattle, and they took it to them. If you didn't watch the game, here's what happened. Seattle starts with the ball. They go 3-0. Or I think 4-0. I think they got a first down, then they went 3-0 after that. They did nothing on their first drive. Giants get the ball back. They get the ball. Daniel Jones trips over something, and he falls, and he fumbles, and so the Giants are back. Now it's like 2nd and 20 on the second play of the game for the Giants. They get a screen, and it's a first down, and they just kept moving. Those screen plays. Eric Gray, running back for the Giants, 3 catches for 50 yards on the first drive. They were moving. They got all the way down to 4th and goal at the 1-yard line. They went for it, which I love. I think that's the right play call. And Eric Gray, and I thought he was in. I guess they for whatever reason, they don't have a goal line cam that actually can show if he was in or not, which is stupid. I thought he was in. He wasn't. Rayshon Jenkins of the Seahawks runs it back 101 yards. So after that point, usually this game's over. Giants cannot bounce back from that. On their next drive, though, they were moving. They were moving again. Tyrone Tracy was dominating. Defensively, I think they got 6 sacks. They forced a fumble on DK. They really got home. They played a very well-rounded game. And to top it all off, it was the best special teams play I've seen the Giants do in about in probably my entire life. It's 23-20. The Giants are about to lose the lead. And with a loophole, Isaiah Simmons jumps through the A gap, blocks the kick, and they run it back for a touchdown. I cannot think of another play where I've been like, wow, I cannot believe the Giants just did that. It has been that long. I don't think there's been a game that was played as well. The Giants really played well in this game. The only there are two games that come to mind that are from the same season that you can argue were arguably that kind of game. It was the game against Indianapolis from 2 years ago, or the wild card game against the Vikings. In that wild card game, defensively, I'm not saying they were bad, but defensively they were okay. Well rounded. It was a great win, but it wasn't like insane. It wasn't like a holy cow. Like it was a great team win. This is really good football. This is one of the top, in my opinion, this is like one of the top 5 Giants games that have all around, because every aspect of the game contributed to the win. They really played well. This is like a top 5 game within the last like 5 to 10 years. They really played well. San Fran, man, I don't know if I can defend them anymore. They are now 2-3. I know they can beat teams, but they're 2-3. So just for the record, that puts them in the same boat as Arizona, who just beat them. The Giants, teams like Indy, Jacksonville has one less win than them. That's the boat that they're in. Record-wise, team-wise, they have tons of talent. And what are you gonna blame this on? This loss? It's another bad loss for a Niners team that should not be losing these games, but they are. What does that say? That says that this Niners team needs something else. Is that something else CMC? That's what I don't know. Honestly, I think it is. When CMC was with the Niners, when he's healthy, he's explosive, and you don't know if he's going to dominate you in the air, on the ground, both. He's thrown for passing touchdowns with the Niners. He does everything. But he's not healthy. So now you have Jordan Mason, who, with all due respect, statistically he's dominating, but he's a one-trick pony. Jordan Mason does not do much to scare me. It shows that, I know he's dog of the week. Week 1, dog of the week. He was a dog. But now we're 5 weeks in, and it's the same thing. We know what you can do, and you can't really do anything to surprise us. CMC, every week, it was always like, I cannot believe he just did that. Like, that's, even though we knew he could do it, it's still surprising. That's kind of the Niners are. I don't know how they're losing to Arizona. How are you losing to them? The same thing happened with the Rams. How are you losing to these teams? Those are 2 wins that they should have. They should be 4-1 right now, but they're not. This Niners team, they really need to get together, because you need a win to get to 500. You need 2 to get over 500. It's concerning. Are they frauds? No, but they're right on the verge of it. If they lose their next game and they go drop to 2-4, their season's not over, because the Niners are a team that they can really develop. That kind of things, those kind of things. But man, if I'm a Niners fan, man, I am really concerned. I just want to talk about how weird this season has been. I've never seen a season that was more wide open than this season. We have teams like the Giants who are a game away from 500. We have the teams like the Cardinals who are on the same boat. The Bears are over 500. The Vikings are 5-0. The Jaguars are 1-4. And the Niners are 2-3. The Seahawks were 3-0, now they're 3-2. The Saints were 2-0, now they're 2-3. And I guess that's what the NFL wants, but it's just weird. This is the same stuff that keeps happening. I can't grasp it. The Bengals are 1-4. The Cincinnati Bengals are 1-4. The same team. Burrow's back. They're gonna have a great year. They are 1-4. and they now have a must-win game against the Giants, and that's not even a lock, and it's on prime time. That is an unbelievably crazy thing. Going into this season, I was like, yeah, we could probably win that game. We could probably win that game. They definitely can't win that game. One of those games, Cincy. I was like, no, we definitely cannot win that game. Cincy, I was like, we're not going to beat them. I was like, there's no chance. Now I feel like we should be favored to win. Cincy is playing, their defense is horrible. Their offense is clicking. Burrow is statistically having he's having an amazing season. Chase has been very good. Higgins has been great. Chase Brown, I love Chase Brown. He's a great player. But the Bengals are terrible. They're 1-4. They've had games where they should have won, and they just can't. Again, you are what your record says you are. So theoretically, the Giants are better than the Giants. Teams like the Cardinals and the Colts and the Titans are theoretically in the same boat or are better than the Bengals. It is that time of the week. We are through everything. It is now time for Dog of the Week and Player of the Week. So let's just get right into it. Talking football. Dog of the Week for week 5 already. That's crazy. It's got to be Kirk Chains. You like that? Yes, I do. Kirk Cousins was an absolute animal on Thursday night. He was phenomenal. Okay, there's no better way for me to put it. Kirk Cousins was fantastic against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So just for the record, Kirk Cousins, he threw for 509 passing yards, which is the most in Atlanta Falcons in a single game in Falcons history. He threw for 4 touchdowns and a pick, and he led this game back. I mean, look, Kirk Cousins played a really, really great. He played a great game, a really great game. Lights are shining the brightest. That's where Cousins usually folds, but he played a great game. Dog of the week, 100%. Kirk Cousins, Kirk Chains. You like that? Yes, I 100% do. Kirk Cousins was absolutely phenomenal this week. No doubt in my mind that he's not player of the week, that he's dog of the week. Player of the week goes to another quarterback, one who has been consistently amazing. He has simply been put Lamarvelous. That was bad. I apologize so much. That was horrible. That's not going to go into the short where I post about player of the week. Talking football, player of the week for week 5 goes to, if you couldn't tell by the pun, Lamar Jackson is player of the week. Man, whoo. I was actually going to put him as dog of the week, but I was like, no, Cousins was better than him, but I had to give Lamar some props here. Listen to these stats. 348 passing yards, 4 passing touchdowns, 12 rushing attempts, 55 rush yards. He won at least a mention, whether it was dog of the week or player of the week, on that. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw it. He was scrambling. It was a high snap, or no, it was a low snap. He had to pick it up off the ground. He was stiff arm Sam Hubbard like 5 different times, going to the sideline. He threw across his body, across the field, and Isaiah Likely came down with the touchdown. An unbelievable catch there, an unbelievable play, in my opinion, play of the year so far. Lamar was absolutely phenomenal. He's been phenomenal for the entire season, both fantasy-wise and in person. And actually, he has been great. Lamar, super deserving of this award. So Lamar, talking football player, week 5. There you go. Talking football player of the week, not just player. That's kind of vague. All right, that's where we're going to end this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, like I said earlier. And if you like those shorts, then I'll keep posting them. My last short did really, really well. I really appreciate you guys. You guys really liked that one about Devontae Adams. So maybe I'll keep posting them. But I guess we'll have to see. That's where we're going to end this episode. Hope you guys liked it. This is Talking Football. That's what I gotta say about it.